Life is an amazing podcast, and it is presented and hosted by myself, Caro, and my sweet dog Sparky. Give it up for him. I hope you're ready. Enjoy. Welcome back to another episode of Go For Your Life, and I am going for my life today, our life, with Alfie, and Alfie and I go way back. Once upon a time, we were standing in the kitchen together in Australia, Sydney, and then we were standing in the kitchen together in Germany. And here we are connecting from Amsterdam to Brighton today. Welcome, Alfie!
Hello, Caro.
Yes.
Thank you so much for inviting me to do this.
This is so cool.
Yeah, I'm honoured. Thank you.
No, it's really wonderful. And we were speaking a little bit on WhatsApp about, hey, you should be on my podcast. And because I've been and this is something really important for me to also mention, is that, this month and last month, and I've been very focused and very involved with Black Lives Matter. So, doing some fundraisers and protests and stuff. And also now I'm supporting a beautiful initiative here in Amsterdam called Black Queer Trans Resistance. So we're also talking a little bit about queerness and trans and non-binary. And I feel like I really support that. And I feel for me also, once upon a time for me, I didn't really understand non-binary at all. So I also feel like I think it's important that, we can educate other people, because I believe the more we know, the more we change. So yeah, that's something that I feel is something that I want to give to the listeners today, and you would be a perfect guest for that, because let's just go straight in, because you are non-binary.
I am non-binary, and it's interesting you saying that you didn't know what that was. Mm-hmm. Neither did I. I grew up in a kind of a small town in the north of England. I didn't even really know if there were any gay people, even in that kind of small town. I'd never heard about trans people, growing up. But like my mum was always very radical, a bit of an anarchist. She had friends in London who were LGBT, so I had influences from a young age where I knew about people, but I don't know, those conversations weren't really always had with me as a child about, and I think it's such a amazing time now, especially through like some of the work I've done with the kind of LGBT plus community, like just learning about the awareness that there is now, and actually that through doing that work, it helped me find kind of peace and knowledge about my own self through supporting others. And I was actually I ran a kind of peer support group for people who identify as queer, and that was something that I really wanted to do, because I really wanted to support the people, but also I didn't realize it until I was there, but I was questioning myself, like I'd already come out as a gay man, but I realized that my gender didn't fit me, and actually I am queer and I am non-binary, and And
just to break that down for people who are listening, because you and I know now, but so to be non-binary or even to be queer, what does that really? What does it mean? What is it?
Yeah, I'm not trans. I'm comfortable with my physical gender that I was born with. But there's a really good resource if you type in the gender unicorn.
Oh wow.
It's like a little diagram, and it basically just kind of splits splits up. So there's like your sexuality, that's who you're attracted to. There's your kind of gender expression, that's kind of how you dress or want to be perceived, your gender to the world. There's the actual gender that you physically have. And there's also like love as well in that. It's like who you love. And that's the thing. People think in a really binary way about these things, because we've been taught by society to think in a really binary way. That like men are men, women are women, men and women are together, all of that kind of stuff. But for me, that kind of equilibrium of all of those things, I don't sit at kind of one polarity or another. I sit between them. And it's a great exercise for anybody to do, because often people do fit quite a binary way of being. But it's a good tool just to kind of look at and think, where do I sit? Actually, maybe I'm a bit more this. And it can change as well. That's the thing. That's the beautiful thing about humans, is that things can change and shift. Often things are very fixed. But yeah, so for me, like I'm comfortable with my physical gender. But I don't identify with the kind of societal construction of gender. I don't feel like I can. Sometimes my kind of gender expression, how I dress, can kind of show that a bit. But I feel like, in fact, some friends kind of have said to me that I kind of I dress like a woman who appreciates men's clothes.
like me. We're very similar.
I kind of sit between. I dye my hair pink, and I like super short shorts and things like that. But I don't know. I still pass to like my community as a man. People will see me, they'll see my beard, and they'll go, "You're a man." But for me, no, I'm not, and I go by they.
Exactly.
But that's something that I is it really important for me to know for myself, and for people close to me to know. And I've developed a certain level of tolerance for people misgendering, because it is quite new, the language of it, and our language has not been formed in a way to make it easy to it is easy, but it's not usual for people.
I've had a lot of difficulties with this day, because when I first started like learning about non-binary, and I still not really understood exactly what was going on, and then I heard they, and then I always thought, because it was plural, and I'm Dutch, so I'm still I'm translating in my head anyway. And it's something that because I know non-binary people prefer the pronouns they, but do you feel like it's a good one for what you're presenting? Because I don't know, I find they such a weird, in a way, not.
Yeah, I think for me, language can be so weighted, and I found that people referring to me as a man, it felt hurtful, and I never really knew why, and it's because it didn't feel like it was me. So when I found out that I could use something else, and that, because I was like, well, I don't feel like a woman either. What? And and then I was running this group, and somebody was like, at the start of the group, we would go around and say, "Can you say your name and what's your preferred pronoun?" And somebody was like, "I go by they," and I just got to talk to that person, and I was like, "Oh yeah, actually," and it felt freeing. And I agree, it can be confusing because we're not used to it. But in terms of the English language, it's actually correct. Like people say, "Oh, it's the wrong use of they," but like say if you're driving a car and you're going really fast or something, and then somebody kind of cuts you up on the motorway or something. I'm using really English language. But, and you go, "Oh, they just overtook me."
Exactly.
Because you don't know what gender
they is exactly. So even though it's plural, it's also they, not knowing if it is a man or a woman, and in that sense is non-binary. Yeah. That's a really good explanation.
And I think so. It's a kind of so it doesn't. Sometimes it can be a bit confusing for people. So like in my work, I work in mental health, and people it can be very challenging to kind of bring that into the mix when I'm working with people in distress. So I go by they, he. Yeah. In those settings, and that's something that like I
You're
can
accepting
do.
as well because of
Yeah, I'm
you're
accepting.
also very aware of society isn't ready for this anyway.
Yeah,
Yet,
yeah,
yet.
but I think yet exactly, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the something though that because I was in the closet growing up. I didn't come out until late in comparison to younger people now, and I had a lot of internalized homophobia and kind of oppression
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that picked up from society and I put on myself. And I think, yeah, that's definitely something that I've learned that through saying no, this is who I am,
Yeah.
actually,
Mm-hmm.
and not going, oh no, that's fine, you can just call me he. Actually, going,
Mm-hmm.
no, actually, I am they.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it promotes it to other people. And if I'd seen a role model when I was younger of myself, of somebody saying that, then I would have known sooner. I would have gone, oh yeah, actually,
Makes sense.
I,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I'm not telling everybody to be like an activist and to always be the person fighting, because obviously there's safety involved as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a place where it wouldn't be so accepting. There was physical safety involved in the
Yeah.
way that I'd stayed in the closet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think wherever you can, like depending on your audience, you can, yeah. So now I feel really comfortable talking about it because it's an opportunity to educate
Yeah, exactly, because
and
that's
I
really
look.
what I feel too, like it's definitely because I didn't know either. I knew very little about, non-binary or even trans and transitioning. It was all very for a while also confusing for me because I've had a lot of friends around me going through a lot of transitions or, wanting to um, they were kind of starting to identify as non-binary and there is something about for me like I'm very proud to be a woman, but I also hate what society puts on me as well. Like I would definitely and I play with it all the time as well because I'm quite a like then they want to say tomboy because it needs to have some kind of people always need to make and you're actually wearing the shirt. I love it. Alfie has a shirt on. We're tomboy. Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. People always want
Yeah.
to because people always need to like I find it so amazing how people always need some they need I sometimes feel like yeah your tiny little brain just cannot like it can't and I like playing with that too like if I want to wear like bigger clothes or I have a very
Mm,
strong male side to me and I really appreciate that and I think also that's why I really when I started learning more about what it was like to be non-binary I totally understand it like I have so much respect for it because I feel we live in a society, even friends of mine in Australia, they had a baby and from the get-go, they were saying our baby is non-binary. And they were
mm,
completely
mm,
educating their family, people in, I don't know, in the kindergarten. Like it's just a really wonderful thing. And I think it must
mm,
have come with a lot of challenges. But I had so much respect for that decision, because we
mm.
are living in a time now where everything is changing. So we might as well start looking at things a
And
bit more open-minded,
and and that's the thing that this kind of society, these societal structures and kind of binary ways of thinking are it starts in the womb. Like my sister's pregnant, and the first question people ask her is like, "What's the sex?"
Yeah,
And it's like, and she's just says to them, "Oh, I haven't found out," and there are they at the
yeah,
moment because
absolutely,
I haven't. I'm not gonna. So it's
absolutely. It's
that,
very
and that's just
non-binary happening in the baby belly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
No,
exactly.
but it is like that. But I also find it always amazing when even when you walk your dogs, like, is it a boy or a girl? It's like, who freaking
Yeah,
cares,
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I just, and it is really interesting how, or when you look at someone and you aren't sure. I always see people getting confused, like, oh, I don't. Do you know if that's a man or a woman? And it's like, I think we need to look at people, as that's a
Yeah.
person, that's a soul, that's a being, like, yeah, I don't understand why we always have to put straight away a stamp on anybody. And I think that people should identify with whoever or whatever they identify with, and